Mass macaroni and cheese leftovers.
Ooh, macaroni and cheese. You know macaroni and cheese is like the best thing ever, right?
No, it's not.
What? Baked mac and cheese?
It's like,
Tell me you don't crush that.
I mean, I'll eat it, but it's not like up there on my list.
Folks, we are here with another installment of In the Booth Fantasy Football Podcast. You got your main MC, your boy Juan Valley here, and sitting across from me tonight is the one, the only, Brent O'Connor. This is our first week in what could be some time with just the two of us.
It's a sad day.
I think Will Smith said it best when he said, "Just the two of us, we can make it if we try."
I think we're going to get some Twitter comments asking for that.
Probably some record deals too. Point. All right, as you guys heard us talking in the lead up to the show, we're talking about mac and cheese. And yes, Brent, I don't know why he doesn't like mac and cheese when everybody in the world loves mac and cheese.
I mean, I don't love it. I'll eat it, but it's like, as far as like holiday sides, it's like number 6 to 8 on that list. Oh yeah.
What? Your rankings, sir, just like your fantasy rankings, are terrible. Because that is easily in the top 2, if not number 1 sides.
No, sir.
I mean, the only thing that could potentially push it out is either mashed potatoes and or stuffing. That's
mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Nope.
Stuffing.
Nope.
Yes.
No sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes, no, kicking that out.
Then you need to. Well, how about like not cranberry, like a real homemade cranberry sauce?
No.
You're insane.
What sucks is I have to wait like 350 something days to Thanksgiving.
If you would actually cook, you could do it tomorrow.
I'm not going to cook all these sides.
Why not?
For a random Wednesday night dinner.
Why not?
I mean, who does that? I mean, max. I think the average American, without looking up stats here, maybe cooks 2 sides, like an entree and 2 sides. That's it.
Yeah, for
on
dinner,
your average weekly dinner.
You know, growing up, we had some my dad was kind of picky about how dinners were. We had to have a main dish, 2 vegetables, a fruit, and a carb.
That's just too much food.
I mean, when there's 7 people and 5 kids and 2 adults.
So that's a lot of consumption of food.
It didn't last.
Well, probably not. It's a lot of people. The one thing I hated growing up is I was force-fed greens. And because of that, I cannot stand greens.
Like collard greens or like green vegetables?
Like greens.
Okay, so collard greens, mustard greens.
I don't know. We just called it greens.
Okay, so collard greens.
Probably.
Oh, man. You won't eat them now?
No, God.
Oh, man. They're so good. Popeyes actually has plug. For if anybody's looking to sponsor us. But Popeyes has some pretty good collard greens.
I hear that. You're not the only person to tell me that. I will never venture to try it just because I like it. Anyways, all right, folks, you're here for a reason. That reason is Waiver Wire. Brett was staring at me awkwardly while I was saying that. But we're here for this week's Waiver Wire. Who you should pick up to win your championship. Most of you guys are in the playoffs already. So we're focusing on this week's playoff because we care about you winning this week. And of course, hopefully, subsequently the week after. But in order to get to the week after, you got to win this week. For that reason, we're going to give you who you should pick up if you need quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. As we all know, trade deadlines have passed. So we got to look to the waiver wire, and we're going to look at players who don't have that high of ownership. Of course, each league is going to be different, but these are typically your players that are in below the 60% ownerage in all the leagues. So, with that being said, Brent, first up, we got quarterbacks. I'm going to give you a list of players. You're going to give me who you would go after first, and we'll go down order. And then, of course, based off that list, you, the listener, can kind of go, depending on what your league looks like, kind of play off that list. So, for quarterbacks, we got Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Derek Carr, Mitch Trubisky.
Out of that list of 4, I like Baker Mayfield. He's had some good weeks. The past couple weeks, he's really been putting up numbers. And then outside, or I guess number 2, I'd probably take Derek Carr. I just haven't seen enough from Jalen Hurts to really feel good about him, and Mitch Trubisky is far too up and down.
Yeah, I think this past week, out of those 4 players, Trubisky had the highest quarterback rating, 126. Next closest, Mayfield at 87.5. So by far and away, Trubisky, if you're looking at kind of based off that, would be your go-to quarterback. But like you said, Brent, his ebbs and flows are too much, and he's unpredictable week to week. And I feel personally that, and I agree with you that he would be 4th on my list out of those 4. I feel like last week was kind of a fluke, and he won't be able to reproduce that, consistently this week upcoming, and then the week thereafter, if you're in need of a quarterback for whatever reason this week.
Yeah, I've got with Baker Mayfield, I've got him 2, 4, 6. I've got him number 9 in my rankings.
Is that total rankings or just quarterback only rankings?
Quarterback only.
Okay. That's up there.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a good game. He's playing the Giants. The Giants have had a decent pass defense, but like I said, the past 3 weeks, he's been. It's almost like he finally understood how this offense is supposed to work, and Nick Chubb has been, running his tail off, and I think it's taken some pressure off of Baker Mayfield, and their offensive line is really holding up well for him.
Yeah, their offensive line is, if I remember correctly, top 5 in the league, and with the return of Chubb, he's looked. And thanks to Chubb this past week, you have him on your team. Me and you were playing for first overall pick, and
unfortunately you're no longer playing for the first overall pick.
No, I'm not. You are still. You beat me because of Chubb on Monday night. Going into Monday night, I had the lead, guys, and out of nowhere, Nick Chubb decides to break it off.
Marlon Humphrey helped too. We do IDP in our league, so I had Marlon Humphrey, and his 2 forced fumbles also helped.
Yeah. Nonetheless, Chubbs was the pivotal portion of that. And with Mayfield, he's got 2 easy opponents coming up, when the Giants and the Jets. So for your fantasy players, that's going to be, huge when you're looking at, most of you guys are at the semifinals this week, potentially Super Bowl the week thereafter. So you got 2 easy games for Baker Mayfield coming up where he can, sling the ball and pick up the yardage and touchdowns.
Yeah, 2 defenses that are lackluster.
Yeah, where we got Derek Carr, who would second on our list. He's facing off against the Chargers and Dolphins. Dolphins, they don't got the greatest pass defense, but they got a great offense, which could mean a good shootout for Derek Carr, and that's next week. That's not this week, where they're facing the Chargers.
Yes, one other guy, if I can add to this list, is Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I have him number 5 in my rankings. He plays the. I'm sorry, let me pull it up here. He plays the Jets this week. So, Cam Akers has had two good games, but it's not like he's getting 20 carries, 25 carries every week. I think that Jared Goff has a chance to take advantage of the Jets defense. Now, unfortunately, there probably won't be any more zero blitzes that he can take advantage of, but I think he can definitely exploit their weaknesses.
He may be available. He's at a 50%, or I'm sorry, 57% ownage in ESPN leagues, so he may be available in your leagues. He picked up 10 spots this past week, so he could very well be available.
Yeah.
All right, that wraps up quarterbacks, folks.
You want to talk about Jalen Hurts at all?
I mean, we can. I just don't feel I would not recommend him out of the four that we just mentioned. Obviously, with Trubisky, I would. Honestly, it'd be a toss up between him and Trubisky.
Do you think he keeps the job going into next year?
I don't know. I mean, based off 1 week, yes. I don't think that's fair to him nor Wentz that we're basing it off of 1 week. I think we need to see more snaps, and not just more snaps, but more teams. How's he going to look against other teams?
Fair. The one thing that I do think Jalen Hurts does is he helps Miles Sanders' production.
Yeah, absolutely. Wentz was not good at that for sure. But with that being said, though, if we look at the drafts for our keeper and dynasty leagues, if Jalen Hurts, obviously you don't pick him up this week, but if you watch him the next couple weeks, is he available? Do you pick him up before the league is over?
I think
as a keeper.
I think you could, if you have a player that's on the fringe where you've been considering dropping him the past 2-3 weeks. I think Jalen Hurts is that candidate that you pick him up and set him on your bench, and you just hold him to see what he does. So then you don't have to fight somebody else over the waiver wire edition.
Right.
2 weeks from now, if he has 2 more good games.
Especially if you're in the bottom half of your draft for next year, where you're obviously not going to get somebody like Trevor Lawrence. He's obviously going to go in the first couple of picks, most likely. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good. What's not a bad option as you head into next year. All right, moving on to the running backs. Again, give you a list of 4 players. You tell me who you would pick up in order. First, we got Gus Edwards out of the Baltimore Ravens, Jeff Wilson, San Francisco 49ers, Ito Smith, Atlanta Falcons, and to round it out, Buddy Howell.
Of this list, I'm going to go get Jeff Wilson first.
Ooh, was not seeing that.
Well, so Raheem Mostert went down with an injury in this week's game, and he's due for an MRI. But depending on how that comes back, Jeff Wilson may be the starter. Jerick McKinnon was inactive this past week, and before the game, Kyle Shanahan had kind of said that he was going to roll with the duo of Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. So I anticipate Jeff Wilson to get the majority of San Francisco's carries if Mostert's out. Now, the rest of this list, it's not good for running backs. But if I had these running backs to choose from, it'd be Edwards second, and then Ito Smith. And I don't even know if I'd waste my time on Buddy Howell, to be honest. He got the touches in Houston, but I mean, I don't think he's going to do much with his touches.
Do you think is Cooks going to be out this week still?
I don't know. I think he went out with a concussion. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And I think he came back.
Okay. Yeah. I think you're right. Okay. I'm surprised you didn't go Gus Edwards first.
So, like I said, the only reason I say that is that I don't put Edwards first is because I think Wilson could be the lead back for San Francisco. I mean, I like what Gus Edwards has done, but I just don't know that he's going to get... Like, I feel more comfortable having somebody with the bulk of the carries than somebody that has to either score a touchdown or break off a long run.
And I always say Gus Edwards because Baltimore has 3 easy games coming up. Jacksonville, Giants, and the Bengals. To me, my thought process is they're going to probably run the ball a considerable amount because they're going to be up most likely in all those games. So they're going to be pounding the ball, which is going to give more reps to Gus Edwards, who could potentially break one off for a touchdown.
The Niners play the Cowboys this week, so they play one of the easiest rush defenses.
I don't know if you watched the Cowboys-Bengals game this past week, but they
do we need to get started? Do we need to get started on the Bengals?
We don't, but that can give the Cowboys D bit of a rush, motivation high going into this week. Who knows if that does anything, but I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean,
49ers also aren't that great offensively.
Oh, sorry. That was me this week. That was me this week. Continue on.
But yeah, so the 49ers aren't that great offensively, so going up against somebody such as the Cowboys, I mean, we're not talking top 5, top 10 offenses.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I just still think Jeff Wilson has a better possibility of getting the bulk of the carries, which is what I feel comfortable with. He has the higher floor of the two.
Okay, so let's make this interesting for our listeners. Let's make a bet, Brent.
Well, onward. Let's go.
All right, you down?
I got to hear the bet.
All right, Gus Edwards versus Jeff Smith. Who gets more fantasy points?
I'm not taking Jeff Smith.
I'm sorry, Jeff Wilson.
He doesn't get it. I don't even know if he's on the active roster for the Jets anymore.
You know what I meant. Jeff Wilson and
fantasy points or yards or what?
Fantasy points.
Ah, shit. All right. What's the bet?
I know how you don't like to hold up your end of the bargain with these jelly beans that
I keep forgetting to get them.
Kyle started or wanted to do. So, let's do. I kind of like the idea of you ever watch the show Hot Ones on YouTube.
Nope.
Oh, you ever watch that? It's a breakout hit where they'll do like questions about half an hour each episode. And they'll go from least hot to hot wings.
Oh, okay.
I would recommend something like that, just like a hot wing, but
like the Taki chip or what? Or not the Taki chip? What is it? Packy. The Packy chip.
Sure.
The ghost pepper chip.
Sure. I don't know.
It's one single chip.
Yeah, I know that. And I don't tend to do stuff like that because I feel like most people, like myself, once we eat something hot, we have to be in the vicinity of a restroom. It's a great laxative for me. I love hot stuff, don't get me wrong, but it clears the system, such as the nostrils and intestines.
All right. I usually don't have that much of an issue with it, but all right.
All right. We'll come up with something. I want to do something funny. Like
if any of our listeners have any suggestions,
yes,
go to our Twitter page in
Shoot
the booth
message
in the booth FF and give us some ideas.
Yeah, I like it. See what the fans. Hey, and if we get some good suggestions, maybe each week we can
switch
it to the fans. See what they got.
Yeah,
I like it. All right, moving on to wide receivers. Give you a list of 5 receivers here. And again, you tell me in order who you would pick. Number 1, KJ Hamler, Denver Broncos. Nelson Agholor, Las Vegas Raiders. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Green Bay Packers. Keelan Cole Sr., Jacksonville Jaguars. And Rusher Higgins, Cleveland Browns.
Rashard Higgins.
You typed that in wrong.
I did not. You typed that.
I did type that in wrong. I was like, as I was saying, I'm like, who is this guy? I don't know who this guy is.
Okay, of this list, I think I'm going to take Nelson Agholor, then Keelan Cole, then who did the Packers play? Panthers. I'll take Valdez-Scantling, MVS, and then Hamler, and then Higgins.
All right, repeat that over in order for our listeners.
Agholor, Cole, Valdez-Scantling, Hamler, Higgins.
Higgins last? Okay. So let's just mark Higgins off of the list here. Focus on those 4.
Okay.
I think I kind of agree with your list there, except for I would probably swap Marquez and Keelan. Those 2. But
you like MVS better than Keelan Cole.
Yeah.
So I like Keelan Cole because Gardner Minshew came back in that game this past weekend and has been named the starter for this upcoming game. I mean, if you look, he got 12 targets. It seems like he he's the number one target for Gardner Minshew and not DJ Shark. So that's why I lean towards Cole over MVS. And MVS is very up and down. He had 6 targets in this game. I was kind of surprised that he had that many targets. It seems like he's been hovering like 3, maybe 4, and he's usually real dependent on a long pass. But I like Agholor, and Agholor is going to be at home against the Chargers, and the Chargers' pass D has been able to been abused a little bit by receivers throughout the season.
Okay. He is one thing about Keelan Cole is he's only on 18% of the rosters, so he will most likely be available. His average fantasy points, at least in our league, is 9.1 yards or 9.1 points a week. So that's not too shabby going in.
If you match those up with the weeks that Minshew started, I would venture to say that those are his high weeks. And then there were like the past 3 weeks they were pretty low, right? His numbers.
Yeah, they weren't the greatest.
Yeah, and that's when Glennon came in and took over.
Okay. When did Minshew go out?
Hold on.
Let's see, trying to pull that info up here. I thought it was. Let's see, Minshew. He's limited right now.
So looks like he
Week
played
7.
Yeah, through 7, and then from 7 to 14, he was not starting.
So week 7. Prior to week 7, so first 6 weeks, yeah, Keelan Cole wasn't that bad. 11, 12, a 5 and a 4 and a 10, and then a 17.
Mm-hmm.
He did have one breakout game in week 10 with 29. So, I mean, yeah, not a bad option if you're looking for a wide receiver to go. Obviously, I still think you go Nelson Agholor should be your top pick if he's available, which I have him in our league, and I had him benched. Now, granted, my 2 main wide receivers, WR1 and 2, outscored him, so I was happy with him being on the bench, although I could have put him in the flex position, which definitely could have helped.
Yeah, Mike Williams didn't do much for you, did he?
No, he did not. Nelson Agholor is 38% of the rosters in the ESPN league, so he's most likely available in your league, which if you need somebody in the flex position or a replacement for your WR2, it's definitely somebody I think you should add. And he's playing the Chargers this week, Miami next week, Denver the week thereafter. So obviously it's not the easiest competition, but also not the hardest either.
Yeah, he's a number 3 wide receiver for me.
Yeah, I like that. All right, moving on to the tight ends. All right, I'm gonna give you a list of 4. You tell me. Logan Thomas out of Washington, Irv Smith Jr. of Vikings, Tyler Higbee, the Rams, and Cole Kmet out of the Bears.
So out of these 4, this is probably now. This is dependent on if his teammate is out. I like Irv Smith. If Kyle Rudolph is out, then I like Irv Smith out of those 4, and then probably Logan Thomas just out of the targets that he gets. But Tyler Higbee is playing the Jets, and that's a very favorable matchup. I think that the Jets give up the most touchdowns on the season to tight ends. So I kind of like Higbee taking that dart throw on him. And Cole Kmet, I just, again, I don't know that I can trust him. He's a rookie. I think he's a rookie. He might be a second-year player. But he's not getting a whole lot. He had 7 targets this past week, and I think that's the most he's had all season.
He had 7 the week prior. He is a rookie, but he had back-to-back sevens. Prior to that, yeah, he's had 3 was his next highest thereafter.
There's very few rookie tight ends that you can trust, and I mean maybe he is becoming their steady Eddie at tight end because Grandpa Graham is getting a little old and banged up.
Right. I like Logan Thomas. I actually picked him up last week. He has 5 touchdowns on the year. He is playing Seattle, but Alex Smith could use
if Alex Smith. That's another worry that I have is if Alex Smith plays. I mean, if he's out, then I probably am gonna stray even farther or drop Logan Thomas even farther in my rankings.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, Alex Smith seemed to be the one that utilized him.
True, but given that they're going up against the Seattle D, you'll think they're going to need those quick drop passes?
Seattle's pass rush outside of Jamal Adams isn't that great.
It's not the best. I don't know. I still like Logan Thomas though.
He's your number 1 on the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I have to go with him number 1. Irv Smith's not bad.
Irv Smith. So Irv Smith is so athletic. Like, I think that he is underutilized in Minnesota because of Kyle Rudolph.
True. And I'm actually surprised you even like Irv Smith because he went to Alabama.
It's only Alabama running backs I don't like.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Cole Kmet, not even really looking at him as a viable option. He only has 2 touchdowns on the year.
So, to be honest, like the way I've been playing tight end this year is by matchup because it's been so atrocious. The tight end landscape is just ugly right now. If I can find a tight end that's on the waiver wire, excuse me, a tight end that's on the waiver wire that has a like top 5 matchup, that's who I'm picking up usually. Unless it's someone like Dalton Knox or Caden Smith or something.
The ESPN universe agrees with my assumption, and Logan Thomas was the most added player this past week.
Yeah.
Out of the tight ends.
I believe it.
Robert
Tonyan.
Yep. Second, but he's on 87% of the roster, so his availability in your league at least may not be an option. Cole Kmet, he is the him, Irv Smith Jr. are 6%, 7% if you round up. Ownage and ESPN for Cole.
Cole Kmet is owned as much as Irv Smith.
4.4 for Irv Smith.
Damn.
Yeah.
If you look at Irv Smith's stats, I mean, they're not going to blow you away, but he was hurt for 2 weeks. So he was out for 2 weeks. But before that, he had scored he had 5 targets and I think a touchdown
the week prior
in like
Detroit.
3 or 4 weeks or 3 or 5 weeks.
For who?
Irv Smith.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Cole Kmet.
No.
He had 1 touchdown this past week, 0 the week prior, 2 the week before that.
Yep, you're right.
So with the tight ends, most people don't really focus that much attention on the tight ends. So everybody just kind of rides with the person that they picked up earlier in the season. So I can see why there hasn't been much movement in the tight end arena. But honestly, I would probably roll with whoever you have. Only go after Logan or Irv if you're in need, if for whatever reason your tight end got hurt or gets hurt in the next couple days, or gets COVID and is out. Only then I would say go with Logan or Irv. Outside that, I would ride whoever you most likely have on your bench anyways.
I like it.
You like it? All right, folks, that rounds out the waiver wire picks for this week. If you like, we're approaching the 30-minute mark. So at this point, rewind if you need to catch up on anything we said as far as the quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, and, of course, the tight ends there. And if you have any questions leading up to Thursday night's game and Saturday's games, hit us up on Twitter. in the booth FF. We'll be more than happy to kind of give you our thoughts on who you should start, who you should pick up if there's anybody in question that we didn't mention on tonight's show. With that being said, let's get to the Twitter mailbox. What do you say, Brent?
I say let's do it.
Let's ask some questions. Not ask questions. Let's see some questions, and I'm going to ask you a question. You tell me your thoughts. All right. First question up. Who's the better hold in Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues? Lynn Bolden, Van Jefferson Jr., Donovan Peoples-Jones?
I think I like Donovan Peoples-Jones best. I think that he's the more dynamic player out of those three. Van Jefferson, I feel like unless the Rams let one of their receivers go, I think Robert Woods is a free agent after this year, and maybe Josh Reynolds too. But unless one of those top three receivers in LA are leaving, I don't think Van Jefferson sees the field too much. Who was your first? Oh, Lynn Bowden. I don't know. I think he's still trying to adjust to the NFL, and he finally got the chance to get in on some plays this past week because of injuries in Miami. But he's another guy that's buried on the depth chart. DPJ has seemed to be getting a decent amount of run in Cleveland, and maybe it's because I see him on punt return where I see him on the field more. I don't know what his snap percentage is, but he's caught a couple, had a couple touchdown catches this year, a couple big catches. Yeah, I like him.
Okay, fair enough. I can't go wrong with that one. As far as his snap percentage, 70% last week, 57 the week prior.
I almost guarantee that's substantially higher than the other two players.
Yeah. All right, we got next question. Excuse me. Which side would you prefer in PPR Dynasty? Terry McLaurin, George Kittle.
Oh, that was easy.
And it's also 2 PPR for the tight ends in this league.
Yeah. Then I'm taking Kittle.
Kittle?
Yeah. I think Kittle's still a young enough player that he probably has at least 3 good seasons left in him. McLaurin may have the longer career, but over the next 2-3 seasons, you can trade if you have to, Kittle, or find another tight end. But if I'm getting, I think he's still the focal point in San Francisco's offense.
And just so you know, out of 90 votes, 76% of it went to George Kittle. So your assumption there is spot on.
Of course.
Of course it is. I'm Brent, the Hitman O'Connor. All right, next question. Who should I start in a full point PPR? Noah Fant versus Seattle, Logan Thomas versus Buffalo.
I'm going to go Logan Thomas here. Fant has just not looked good. Doesn't seem to be getting many looks from Drew Lock, and when he does, it's not for much yardage. I think I'd rather take the chance on Logan Thomas.
The fans also agreed. Logan Thomas, overwhelming majority. All right. So you get to start 2 quarterbacks in this 2 quarterback league. All right.
Is that how 2 quarterback leagues work? You start 2 quarterbacks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for clearing that up.
You're welcome. More insights from John Madden Valley. All right. So Justin Herbert, Ryan Tannehill, 1 combo. Tannehill, Jalen Hurts, or third, Herbert and Hurts.
Tannehill and Herbert.
Tannehill and Herbert.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority also sided with that selection as well.
like we had talked about earlier in the show, you just can't trust Jalen Hurts yet.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, who do you start this week? Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju. Oh my God, I can't say that.
Smith-Schuster.
It just sounds so weird. Like, I can't say hourly either. It's hard for me to say hourly. I have to stop and enunciate it really slowly. Otherwise, I go hourly. I feel weird saying that.
You do that with. I've noticed you do that with some words.
Yeah. All right. So we got Juju or Corey Davis.
Titans play the Lions. Steelers play the Bengals. Man, I think I'd probably go with Corey Davis.
Corey Davis.
Yeah.
I think you gotta.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
And I'm only hesitant because I love Juju as a character, even though he plays on the Steelers. His character outside of the football world, I like him a lot.
As a person, like he just seems like a legit person, like a good person.
So it's hard for me to always go against him, but yeah, you're right with the.
Like I feel like
Titans
Big Ben has been using Deontay Johnson so much more than Juju. I wish Juju would get back to his rookie and kind of target share, but
all right, so you're going to Corey.
Yeah.
I'd probably pick Juju just because I like him. I already seen the results, but the results, the majority 6-4 go Juju over Corey.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's a tough call either way. My only hesitation going Juju would be the Steelers would be up so much against the Bengals.
I feel like that's both teams. That's what made me hesitant. Like,
yeah, but the Lions, like last week, they put up a lot of points. I don't think it's going to be compatible.
Matt Stafford is injured. He's got some rib issue.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he might be out.
I'm not going to lie to you. I missed a lot of the games this weekend. Man, that sucks. All right. Who do you start this week in PPR? AB versus Atlanta. Josh Jacobs versus the Chargers.
And Josh Jacobs. AB is getting phased out of that offense.
You don't think he'll be back next year? Didn't he sign? I thought he signed a 2 year. Or no, he only signed a 1 year.
I don't care how long his contract is. He's not getting very much.
Yeah. But I don't like questions like that where you pose a wide receiver versus a running back. Unless it's like a tier 2 running back, always go. The answer is always going to be running back in that situation.
Well, I mean, Josh Jacobs kind of is a tier 2 running back this year.
This year, yep, exactly. Remember that. Remember that. All right, who do you play this week? Half PPR playoff game. Tom Brady versus Atlanta. Kyler Murray versus the Eagles.
I like Tom Brady this week. I got him ranked number 1.
Ooh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Even over Kyler Murray? He hasn't looked that great the past few weeks, but he's playing the Eagles, who put up a tremendous amount of points, so maybe it could be a shootout.
Nah, I'm going Tom.
You're going Tom. I'm going Kyler.
I'm rolling with the old Tom turkey.
Old tried and true.
Yep.
The majority of Twitter agrees with me with Kyler in that one.
He's a new pretty thing.
Yeah. All right. Who to bench in the championship? Let's assume CMC is out this week.
He is.
Miles Sanders, James Robinson, Cam Akers, Mike Davis.
Okay, hold on. Tell me again. Miles Sanders.
James Robinson.
Cam Akers. Okay.
Mike Davis.
So who do you bench?
Who do you bench? So I'm assuming you're going to play 3 of the 4 people.
Okay, so you're not benching Akers.
Correct.
Probably going to play Davis against, who do we say we plays? Against the Packers, who has a not so good run D. And then the other 2 were
James
Robinson and
Sanders.
And Miles Sanders. I guess Miles Sanders. I got the other 3 are in my top 12.
Okay.
And Miles Sanders is he's at about 16.
Oh, this one is split evenly, pretty much 25, 25, 25, 25 done.
Really, between those four players?
Between those four, yeah. That is quite interesting. But I also don't like how that question was posed, so I don't know if that was...
Because it's who you sit instead of who you start?
Yeah. Don't like the way that was worded.
But I don't like when people do post questions of, I need to start 3 of these 4.
Yeah. And
then you can only pick one.
Yeah.
I don't like that either, so...
It's definitely better ways of going about that. All right. You got to start one. Based off the 2 people we just named. Who are you starting? This is full PPR. Miles Sanders or Cam Akers?
I like Cam Akers. I think that he's proven that he's going to be their bell cow back and their stud.
Not to mention he's coming off a great week as well.
And they play the Jets.
Yes. All right. Better flex play in a standard league. Kupp, Zeke, Juju, Ayuk.
Kupp, Zeke, Ayuk,
and Juju.
I think I'm going with Ayuk.
Okay.
Yeah. So Debo went down this week. So Ayuk's going to be the focal point. Plus Mostert's possibly going to be out. I think Ayuk's going to get a lot of touches.
And the Twitter sphere agreed with you on that one overwhelmingly. Ayuk. Start one this week. PPR. Hunt, Jacobs, Dobbins.
Dobbins is primed. He's another rookie that has finally solidified his place, and the in a super favorable matchup against the Jags.
Twitter sphere also agreed. Dobbins is the way to go. All right, let's round this out with the last question here. Let me find a good one. All right. Oh, this one is not really a fantasy football related question, but kind of is. And I'm just curious because this isn't talked about a lot at all. When it comes to fantasy football owner, I'm kind of making this up as I go with the question because all it just says is I prefer.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to word it better here for our listeners. As the manager of your fantasy football team, do you prefer to look at film or analytics when making decisions? And your answer cannot be
both.
Yes, and it can't be a mixture of the two. It's one or the other. Which one do you look at first?
I tend to go with film because there are some players that I feel like have good numbers that I don't feel good about, and vice versa. And then a lot of times, so I guess I kind of go the opposite way because then I'll go look at analytics and then I start second guessing myself, and then it plays out and I'm like, you dummy, should have just went with your gut.
See, I would say I'm strictly analytics, and I feel like that bites me in the ass more often than not.
That's what I mean. So because that's what it is I go and look at analytics and then I second guess my judgment, and then it plays out and should have went with my judgment.
That's probably my biggest gripe with fantasy football is how everybody says it takes a lot of skill. To me, it's more luck than skill.
It's just like this argument of analytics or film, or analytics or what you see with your eyes. It's a combination of both because you can't just. You can just pick random players, but you still have to be knowledgeable about who you're picking up off the waiver wire, who you're starting and sitting, what defenses are doing well and which ones aren't. you still need to be knowledgeable. You can't just the majority of the time, if you just are just guessing all the time, you're probably not going to win a whole lot of games.
That's probably a fair assumption. You can't knock that. But I also feel like
it's not
the individual who is so passionate about football that they live, breathe it. Every morning they wake up, they're looking at the news, what's going on, who ate what for breakfast. That guy probably never wins because he's overthinking every step of the way.
It's possible. And
I feel like a part of it is he might be looking at, San Francisco, 2 of their starters on the defensive line, they skipped breakfast. What's that mean? So they're going to look like, XYZ is probably going to get a lot of runs.
So you think?
And it turns out that's not the case.
You think being over analytical can come back and bite you in the butt?
Yeah. I'm not only saying that because of how I feel like I look at analytics.
Mm-hmm.
I look too heavily into it. And numbers don't always, once you're on the field, it's like that saying, you have a game plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And numbers can only get you so far. And then once you get on that field, bam. All right. So that wraps it up with the Twitter mailbag for the week. All right. To close out this week's episode, let's go over this week's matchups. What do you say?
Let's go.
All right. Thursday night's game, we got the Chargers taking on the Raiders.
I'll take the Raiders. I talked a little bit earlier. I like Derek Carr's prospects of having a good game, another good game.
We picked these earlier before we started the podcast, and I'm pretty sure me and Brent picked every team. I think he changed one up. I think it was the Bears he changed up.
Yeah.
But I think we got the same order, our same picks here. But yes, I get the Raiders. Although I would love to see Justin Herbert throw up a phenomenal game, and I would like to see the Chargers upset the Raiders. I just don't think that's happening.
I don't want to see that happen. I would like to see the Raiders make the playoffs.
I wouldn't.
Why?
Because the Josh Jacobs.
Seriously?
Yep. That's the only reason why.
You traded him away. It was your choice.
I know, because I think you guys overhyped Josh Jacobs.
Maybe.
And I want to see his demise because of that. That's my own personal vendetta.
Part of it was Tyler Lockett too. Like
yes.
you gave up a lot for that one pick.
But I believe in Akers. I believe he can touch the sky.
I was going with Angels in the outfield, actually.
Oh.
I was going to ask if somebody was in the...
All right, Saturday night's games. Yes, we got Saturday football this week. The 4 o'clock game, 4:30. We got the Bills taking on the Broncos.
Taking Josh Allen.
Yes, Josh Allen all day. I know how much you love Josh Allen.
I do. I think he's being talked about this year, but I don't know that he's being talked about enough.
I don't think he is either.
You don't think he's being talked about enough?
Yeah, I think he's getting overlooked.
Okay, yeah. So I think he's having a tremendous season, and everybody, Patrick Mahomes is tremendous, and Aaron Rodgers is tremendous. But outside of those two, I think that he's probably the third best quarterback this year.
Herbert, you got to put Herbert up there. I think he's getting a lot of attention because he's putting up those phenomenal numbers, and he's a rookie doing it.
Yes, correct.
I think Herbert would probably be even more talk if the Chargers were actually somewhat decent this year. But I digress. All right, the Saturday night game, 8 o'clock game. We got the Panthers taking on the Packers.
Taking Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, Aaron Rodgers. I think that's a no-brainer.
Although, man, I didn't see. I kind of wanted to take the. Well, I guess we'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about the bets here in a second. All right, Sunday day games. We got the 49ers taking on the Cowboys.
I'm going to take the Niners. Cowboys destroyed the Bengals, but it's the Bengals.
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. The 49ers. Seahawks taking on the Washington football team.
I love the way you say Washington. Man, cracks me up every time. I'll take the Seahawks here.
I'm with you on that one. All right. Bears, Vikings. This could be our discrepancy.
Yeah, I was going to take the Vikings, but they're due for some trouble. I'll take in the Bears. Maybe Mitch Trubisky had that got benched, and maybe he's coming back for another hurrah. Maybe it's his last hurrah. Who knows?
That was a fluke.
We'll see.
All right, so you got the Bears. I got the Vikings.
Dun, dun, dun.
This could be our make or break game of the week. All right, next up, Patriots versus Dolphins.
I got the Dolphins here. I think that Bill Belichick will cause some fits for Tua. It's a divisional game, but I still think the Dolphins can make it work.
Yes, I'm with you on that one. All right, Jaguars versus the Ravens.
I mean, did you see what Lamar Jackson did this past week? He might be back into his 2019 form.
Last year.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Ravens all day. Not even a chance. Buccaneers versus Falcons.
I'm taking Tom Turkey.
Tom Turkey. I'm with you. I think AB is going to throw up a phenomenal game.
Really?
No, because you said earlier that he's
getting phased out.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't been getting a whole lot of looks.
No, and one thing I like about Brady, he spreads the ball out.
You
know? So it's good to see that AB has not yet gotten throwing any temper tantrums on the sidelines yet about not getting any action. So hopefully that will mean he gets another contract, because I think it was a 1-year deal this year.
I think you're right.
So it'd be good to see if he gets extended. All right, Lions versus Titans.
I'm taking the Titans. Derrick Henry is a monster. And the Lions defense sucks.
Yes. What was funny, in our league, the guy who has Derrick Henry was on bye. He's number 2 overall, and he had a bye this week in the playoffs, and he threw up the second highest points this season, and he was on bye. And Derrick Henry on his team threw up a monstrous day. So it'd be funny if next week he tanks.
Sure. Yeah, throws up a dud.
We have the Texans versus the Colts.
I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, Colts all day long.
I do think that this could be a trap game, though. It's interdivision. Texans coming off that tough upset or tough loss to the Bears. I could see it being a redemption game for Watson.
I'm betting on my heart on this one because the Texans screwed me this past week and my parlay. So I'm going Colts, and I hope they decimate the Texans. Eagles versus the Cardinals at the 4:00 games.
I'm taking the Eagles. I think I think this could be interesting. I think that Jalen Hurts opens a lot of things up for Miles Sanders.
As much as I want the Cardinals and Kyler Murray, as much as you ride high on Josh Allen, I'm that way with Kyler Murray. I want to see him succeed, but I'm have to go with the Eagles this week.
I just remembered that the Eagles are going to be without 2 defensive backs and maybe 3 if Darius Slay doesn't play. And if they don't play, DeAndre Hopkins could have a monster game.
But I feel like that's going to make Jalen play harder.
Good.
And I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, nonetheless. I think the Eagles still edge it out. All right, Jets versus the Rams.
This is a tough one.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to take the Rams, I think.
Yes, Jared Goff, baby. All right, to close out the 4:00 games, we have the Chiefs versus the Saints.
I'm taking the Saints. The Saints are, yep, they're fighting for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They gotta win. And I think the Packers need to lose, so they've got to win. They got to fight hard.
Chiefs all day. Travis Kelce, come on now.
Tyreek Hill.
What? All right, Patrick Mahomes is going to sling that ball all day long. He's going to show Drew Brees that he's the old and Mahomes is the new.
I think that's been pretty evident.
I mean, yes, it has. It has been. All right, Sunday night game. We got the Brownies versus the Giants.
I'm going to take the Brownies.
You have to take the Browns too.
Baker keeps baking for the Brownies.
Baker keeps baking brownies. We got the Steelers versus the Bengals.
Jeez. I don't think I can take the Bengals the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I don't care who they play.
All right. So those are our picks for this week.
Do you have our totals from all of our picks throughout the season?
I meant to talk to you about that before tonight. How do you want to handle it now that we lost Kyle?
Just update. Do you have it updated?
Not right in front of me.
From last week? No. I mean, just keep ours going.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll update everybody. All right. So we're going to pick three
Kyle
games.
Can call in with his.
We're going to pick our top 3 games that we feel are locks this week. Give me your 3, Brent. Who do you got?
So I think I'm going to take the Seahawks at -5. The Falcons at +6.5. And the Eagles at +6. But the one that I really was teetering on picking was the Panthers +8.5 at the Packers.
Bro, you're taking some risky bets there, man. I wouldn't call them locks.
I mean, what are yours?
Chiefs?
I don't think that's
-3.
a lock.
I think that's a lock. Yeah.
Okay.
Dolphins -2.
Okay. That's a good one. I'll give you that one.
Seahawks -5.5.
Okay. I picked that one.
You did, but you said 5. I don't know why you said 5. It's 5.5. And then honestly, I would toss in even a teaser here. I think the 49ers at -3.
I considered that one. I did. But getting into these, I kind of look at home away. And a lot of times I don't like to take away teams giving points.
I gotcha. I'd like to see statistics behind that if that's even an issue.
Like when it's low, when they're low, like when they're within 3, if they're away and giving those 3 points, I don't like to take that bet.
The only thing is 49ers have been away now for quite some time because they've been playing in Arizona.
True.
So they're used to that by now.
Sure.
But anyways, I digress. All right, folks, that wraps up this week's episode of the Waiver Wire. This week's episode of the Waiver Wire. Stay tuned. We'll be dropping another podcast this week talking about the headlines coming out of week 14 going into week 15. So stay tuned in for that. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram in the Booth FF. We are obviously more active on Twitter because that's where kind of the fantasy football field, our fantasy football arena is kind of laid out, where everybody's kind of asking questions on there. We'd like to answer your questions, and we'd like to jump in the conversations to give our input because we think we know what we're talking about. Ain't that right, Brent?
That's right.
Yeah.
Should we shout out our Twitter follower that's been asking for...
No.
All right.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Shout out Kevin Wheeler at K3VINWE33L3R.
All right, you butchered. You should at least have it up and ready, man, if you're going to give somebody a shout out. Come on, Brent.
It's Kevin Wheeler.
Man.
I mean...
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in this week. Again, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram in the Booth FF. And on that note, Brent, any last party words?
Kyle, we miss you. Can't wait to have you back.
We out this guy. He ain't coming back. He's gone.
A man can